This video is part of a course entitled The Successful Scholar, which can be found on udemy.com, teachable.com, or thinkific.com. There's a book available as a resource in both paperback and Kindle formats on Amazon. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll check out the full course. We want to look now at managing our learning, and we want to be able to cater to those individual needs that are associated with your learning. So let's start with time management. And time management actually has three components. It's how are you spending your time now? Are you meeting your goals and happy with your current life? How can you make improvements in how you spend your time? Let's look at each of these in more detail. First, how are you spending your time now? I want you to take a moment and think about how much time you spend in each of these categories during the week. Work. Wow. Last week I really worked a lot. Let me see, I was putting together a new course, plus I had a curriculum to write for a client. I also have my normal job where I was teaching, so I worked quite a bit. Reading. I did finish a new book last week, so that was really cool. Video games. Oh, I've already admitted to this. I do play video games. It's the silly ones on my phone while I'm waiting for children or I'm standing in a line. Not really acceptable. Watching TV. I did watch TV this past week, but I usually did it as a backdrop noise while I was putting together some work. Socializing. I had a lot of time to socialize, but my socializing also went along with family time. That's because I had family visiting. What about studying? I did a little bit of studying, but not too many. Attending class. I did attend classes last week. As I'm a teacher, I also attend. Extracurricular. Well, I didn't do much extracurricular because I was too busy really working last week, and that's something that really needs a little more work. So I want you to think about what other ways you spend your time. How does the amount of time you spend relate to your values? For instance, if you put education and learning as a priority or one of your high values, does the amount of time you spend in a week correlate with that value? Do you spend the most amount of time on education and learning? Let's return to Stephen Covey. Recall his philosophy that you should know what is most important to you, what matters most, and make sure that you have enough time for them. Some of these things may be family, job, education, career, faith, hobbies. What is most important to you is very, very personal. What is most important to you may be extremely insignificant to someone else, but you need to know what you value most and make sure your time is well spent, and well spent according to those values. So let's look. Are you meeting your goals and happy with your life? Let's look at how your schedule represents your values. How do you feel about how you are spending your time? How do you feel about your life? Are you on top of things? Meaning, do you look around? Do you feel like you don't have fires to put out all the time? Are you balancing the things which are most important to you? Are you balancing what you need to do? Have you done as well as you wished on exams, papers, projects? Or do you simply feel overwhelmed with everything that's on your schedule or in your life? As you think about these schedules and these questions, I want you to recall Covey's quadrants. Remember quadrant 1? This is the necessities, what's important and urgent. This would be your meetings or your classes. Quadrant 2, the achiever. This is where you want to spend all of your time, right? This is the quadrant that contains all of the tasks which will propel you toward personal growth and your goal achievement. Quadrant 3, the fire sale. Stay away from this quadrant. This is where tasks go because you didn't properly plan in the other ones or the other areas, right? And quadrant 4, your wasters. You don't really want anything to fall into this category. You don't want to waste your time. So how can you make improvements? Let's look at how you can develop a time management plan, which will be based on your priorities, obligations, even preferences. So as a college student or becoming a college student, we're going to actually look at and we're going to assume that going to class is a priority. We're also going to assume that studying is a priority. So first we want to plug in all of your classes. These are going to be written on your agenda or your schedule, whether it be a digital or a paper schedule. So first, look at that. Right there on Monday, it says math class and English class. Those are important. We need to have those in there. You also want your work schedule put in there. Make sure that that is there. These are mandated appointments with times that cannot be altered. You also have a group meeting that's 2 hours long for English, so make sure you get that in there. That's something that you cannot change. Second, let's plan our study time. Now, here is the rule of thumb. Are you ready? For each credit hour in which you enroll, you should spend approximately 2 to 3 hours outside of class studying. So for instance, if you enroll in a philosophy class for 3 credits, this means that you're going to be meeting 3 times a week. You're going to use the 2-hour policy. So 3 credits, meeting 3 times a week, times those 2 hours per hour in class means you should be studying for 6 hours a week. Remember that learning and college education is your full-time job right now. The goal of college education is not really about getting a career, but it's not about education either. Did you know that? Rather, the greatest goals of higher education are to help to transform you from being a dependent learner to being an independent learner, to help you realize your potential. So what is a dependent learner? A dependent learner is instructed as to what to study, how to teach. The classroom instruction is assumed to be a majority of the learning process. Teachers are responsible for the entire educational process, where students are required to show up and pay attention. This pattern is used in most high schools. It's kind of like a blank slate that you're being written on. Let's look at an independent learner. An independent learner is personally responsible for discovering the content that they want to learn. They teach themselves and possibly others. They are self-motivated. Now, college is a more challenging environment. There's stiffer competition, more challenging courses, and even a faster instructional pace. Third, add your flexible events. Some good time management tips for students include using time effectively between classes. So don't say, oh, I only have 50 minutes here. Use that 50 minutes to do something. Spend time organizing your time. I know it sounds redundant, but if you spend a little time organizing what's coming up during the week, you will use your time more effectively. Be sure to do this weekly and then again nightly before bedtime. So at the beginning of the week, you're going to look at the whole week. Then at night, before you go to bed, look at the next day. Be sure to schedule time with yourself to complete that vital component of time management. Review a little each day. Include a reflection time. So at the end of your day, as you are planning the next day, be sure to look at and see how you did during the day. Take care of yourself. Sleep, eat, exercise. Start studying at least 1 week prior to an exam. Find a good place to study. I'll tell you what, I found a great place to study during my college career. There was this little bitty stairwell, and everybody used it, quite frankly, to get to classes. But if you went to the top, to the 4th floor, just above it, there was a stairwell, but it went to the roof and it was locked. So nobody ever used it, and it was a great place for me to be able to study between classes. Be realistic in what you can complete. Plan your leisure time. Recognize your barriers to time management, meaning what is it that distracts you? Is it the party? Is it somebody wanting to jump in? Is it, let's go get a pizza? What distracts you from accomplishing your plans? Know what is important to you. Is it possible you watch too much TV, you're gaming, you're on the internet? Maybe you spend too much time with your boyfriend or girlfriend. That actually happens quite a bit, right? Maybe you sleep too much, or maybe you're not using the most effective studying times. Now, getting over-involved in campus activities can also really cause a dent in your study plan. And having too much activity in your home, your dorm, your bedroom, wherever it is, maybe your roommate is bringing in way too many people. Procrastination. There's another really difficult one for managing time. What if you possibly cannot fit everything into 1 week? Does that happen? All of the time. As an adult, I still have that problem periodically. And what's the answer? It's actually quite simple, but sad. Something has to go. Look at your priority. Or how about this? Maybe you can delegate something, right? So I'll give you an example. The other day I realized that I have a really big schedule. I have a lot of projects coming up, and I'm also going to be speaking at a seminar. That means I need to plan my presentation for this seminar. When I looked at my schedule, I wondered how I would get things done. And I looked at my teenage son and I said, "You like to cook. Would you like to take care of the meals this week for our family?" He says, "Oh, I would love that." Delegation. Now my 15-year-old son will be making the meals for the family. Notice that you don't have to do anything. Instead, you need to realize what's really important. What is a priority? What has to be done? Now, for college freshmen, it is especially easy to overschedule, to take on too many activities. And if you are overwhelmed, immediately meet with your academic advisor. See about opportunities to drop a class, get feedback on your schedule, and remember, please remember that your mental and physical health are essential. They're essential to your success in college, and they're essential to all the other areas in life as well as your future.